When your man comes out in full-on spandex and your man's built like my man, you kind of don't want to do cardio outside. You just rather do it inside, if you know what I mean.
If someone asks Jim who is the greatest wrestler of all time, who would he say?
But you can't just say so-and-so was the greatest of all time ever at this.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but toot. I may get the chair, but I'm going to kill him. No, I'm going to tell you what. I might just torture him, and then I'm going to kill him.
He had great matches all the time with everybody, really, though.
Let me be a mid-card wrestler. Let me just scramble around. Treat me like a piece of garbage. Feed me garbage.
Let me tell you something. I'm hungry. I am really hungry.
He doesn't like Colt Cabana. That's not a secret.
Never in my sickest dreams did I imagine that there would be other people taking dives off the concrete floors, committing human suicide on my behalf. Like I'm the patron saint of the sick sons of bitches.
Hello and welcome to the Patron Saints of Sick Sons of Bitches, episode 4, which is, much like episode 3, about John Felix Anthony Cena, big match, John, West Newbury, Massachusetts' own. I am Colette. I forgot my last name. I'm Colette Aaron of Big Egg, and I am joined by my friend and my co-host, Orchid Cugini of Live, Laugh, Lagerbomb and the Violent People Radio Network. Last week, where we left off, was in the year of our Lord 2010, discussing John Cena versus Batista, and also his 2007 run, bunch of matches, basically the opening half of John Cena's career, and we left off thinking that John Cena was both the greatest wrestler of all time and not the greatest wrestler of all time. You don't think John Cena is the greatest wrestler of all time, but I do. And over the course of the next 90 minutes, 2 hours, who knows, we are going to probably reverse stances as we cover the back half of John Cena's career. I think we should just jump right into it, because the match that we're leading off with is probably the most famous of Cena's career, the most famous of his opponent's career, probably the most famous of Alberto Del Rio's career, even though the match didn't happen because CM Punk bailed and put the title in the fridge, and almost certainly the most famous match in WWE history, following, the end of like the Austin era or something like that. Let's say, like, this millennium is 26 years young, and this match might be the most well-known, most famous match of the millennium. From July, I'm going off of memory here, I think it's July 11th, 2011, from the Rosemont Arena in Chicago, Illinois, adjacent. It's in a suburb in Rosemont. It is CM Punk, Chicago's own, versus John Cena for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I think it's just the WWE Championship. I should have let you start this podcast. I'm trying to sound smart here.
You're doing fantastic. And,
and I'm just fumbling and bumbling over all these acronyms and titles and stuff like that. But
yeah, you problem.
That's for sure. But yeah, this is a match so big and so magnanimous and so unique in its circumstance and outcome, that it launched a dozen, at least, wrestling verticals. It's probably responsible for my career in like the way of that meme where like that dude tips over like Tiny Domino, and at the end of the JPEG is Big Domino. Tiny Domino is CM Punk winning. And then like the domino after that is the fridge pick, and then the domino after that is Grantland, and then the big domino at the end is the Patron Saints of Six Sons of Bitches, but the domino just before that is Fan Fight, which I really don't think that Tencent would have paid for, were there not 10 years of other websites foolishly throwing money at wrestling. Yeah, all of that is to say, thank you, John Cena and CM Punk, for a great match and for 3 of the more fun years of my life, which happened way after this. I want to cede the floor to you. If you want to set this one up in terms of its actual match thing, because I think for me the tough part about talking about this match is that I want to talk about it in terms of the moment, and I definitely want to talk about it in terms of Punk, right?
Yeah.
But this is not a podcast about CM Punk. This is a podcast about John Cena. Someday it will be a podcast about CM Punk, and we will likely have to relitigate this from the other end of the table. We'll have to be like pipe bomb, but we're not doing pipe bombs tonight. We're doing faces and hands moving, gesticulating in front of eyes very blurrily because he's you can't see him. So yeah, let's do something very difficult here. Something that I feel like most people don't do when it comes to this Money in the Bank match. And that makes it sound like it's a Money in the Bank match, about this WWE Championship match, and talk about it in terms of what John Cena does to make it so good. Because it's fucking great, right?
Yeah, but oh god, yeah, absolutely. I do think before we get to that, I do think we do need to talk about the pipe bomb for a moment, but not from the perspective
we need to
of
talk
CM
about
Punk.
how he's become what he hates.
No, but I even think that there's just so much to say just about there are 2 things to say about Cena related to the pipe bomb. The first is that the way he is rolling around in the ring while CM Punk is delivering a 5.5 minute long monologue
in a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt.
CM Punk,
talking about dudes
John
Cena's never heard of before too. Who the fuck is Colt?
Right. Right. But while that's going on, John Cena is doing his best to sell what was a relatively weak spear through a table, in a way that has apparently knocked him out.
Calling back, of course, to ECW One Night Stand 2006.
Right. Exactly. 100%. Absolutely intentional. But no, I do just get such a kick out of just the way that Cena's selling. But the thing that I do kind of want to talk about is that he is so important to Punk's mystique, because to your point about Grantland, this was my reintroduction to professional wrestling. I was not watching yet. It probably wasn't another 2 or 3 years until I actually came back. But I do remember the article that Dave Shoemaker wrote for Grantland about this, and that was just kind of shocking, right? Here's this brand new vertical, that is really, taking the long forgot, long content think piece, and applying it to both pop culture and sports. And, what Grantland was, and what it represents is so important to me. It's something I long for, when I'm trying to find things to read about sports these days. I can't get lost in an article the way I used to, 15 years ago. Yeah. But the thing that's so important about it from my perspective is that if there is not someone to direct all of the ire that at least a small subset of the fan base has, if there isn't a face of that, if there isn't a villain who an anti-hero or an anti-villain who has been the face of the company for going on 10 years or going on 9 years at this point, nothing about the Summer of Punk 2.0 resonates nearly as well. It's this mountain, if it's Batista, it's not as relevant as a mountain. No offense to Dave. Yeah. But it's meaningful that it's John, and it's meaningful that John is going to be the one that Punk does have to get one up on. And I think that that's just just a testament to what we talked about a little bit earlier, or last week, about how, there was no face of the company post Hogan. This is the closest you got. And you could say what you will about, like the viability and whether or not it had the same sort of cultural footprint. At this point, like John Cena did not, right? Like, Cena as an actor doesn't happen for another 5 or 6 years. With that Amy Poehler movie, right? Like that would have been his first major acting credit. But still, if this is like somebody of a different stature, somebody who like you're not seeing, if it's
Amy
not
Schumer,
the butt of a
Amy
joke,
Schumer, Trainwreck.
Amy Schumer. Who did I say? Amy Poehler?
Yeah.
Trainwreck. Yep.
That would have been a better movie.
Apologies to white women everywhere.
Yeah.
The
apology accepted.
Thank you. But no, I just think that like without there like being like this sort of like really big cultural figure who had like such like had been the butt of a joke about what WWE was for so long, because he's cartoony, right? Like a white guy in jorts rapping. I don't know if I've told you this, but I used to work with mentally disabled folks in New Hampshire area in like 2007, 2008, and every one of those folks thought they were a wrestler, and every one of them pretended that they knew John Cena because it was in New Hampshire, right?
Yeah.
Like so everyone was like, oh yeah, I grew up with John Cena. But like there's this like way that he had like an impact that like,
oh my God, Colt Cabana's in the front row of this match. I have it running in the background.
He is in the front row of this match. He's in the front row of this match. Yeah, so I always Ace Steel right there. I notice it all the time. It's like to me, it's like one of the things that stands out the most. But again, this is not a podcast about John Cena. About CM Punk.
The thing that I noticed is the sign that says "I love Brutus Beefcake," but that's just me.
Shout out to Booty Man. My one true love. There's a guy in the Observer Discord named Booty Man. I love him. We'll talk about him in later episodes, I'm sure. Ones that he'll actually listen to. But yeah, no. I do think that. Yeah, I mean, you were watching at the time. Like, what did this feel like? Especially somebody who had context to fill, not just inside WWE but outside of it, because I know you were dabbling in the indies at this point.
Yeah, and if I was dabbling in the indies at this point, it was largely because of Punk and Danielson, like both coming up. I mean, it felt like a literal fucking revolution. Like, I don't know what else there is to say about it. Like, it's one of those things where I think that this match and what happens after this match is why I never got fooled again by anything WWE purported as like the change that you've been begging for is coming. Like, I didn't buy for a minute that like the WrestleMania 30 build for Daniel Bryan was going to result in meaningful change for WWE, because it didn't result in meaningful change for WWE when they did it in 2011. Like, they like basically this match is bittersweet when you think about it outside of the context of just what you see here. Taken for what it is I don't want to say that you can't replicate it, because they kind of successfully did, albeit somewhat accidentally, for WrestleMania 30. But like it is a once in a lifetime sort of situation where a wrestler with the force and weight of their personality and drive makes it to this stage and delivers so thoroughly and so completely. And that's all about Punk, obviously, but in order for it to work, there has to be something to push against, or something to try to break through, and that is Cena, who has made it to that point largely as a consequence of there being nobody else who could. Like, I think that like there was no serious contender for top of the card outside of John Cena on Raw or SmackDown at the time. But in terms of like the context of this match, what you're kind of reckon with, though it matters zero for the match itself, is that in the months leading up to this, John Cena had thoroughly smashed the Nexus, the group of miscreants who formed up to terrorize WWE in the summer and fall of 2010, in the wake of NXT season 1. To the point where there's the really famous match at TLC, which I think is a chairs match, which is great. That's how creatively bankrupt WWE was at the time. Yeah, I meant the chairs were legal.
Oh, okay.
And it was
you went by sitting down.
It was John Cena versus Wade Barrett.
Oh my God.
And like the way that match ended was all of like tables, ladders, and chairs were hanging from the ceiling, like around the Titantron. Like, you know how there's like big like ladder shaped truss for the Money in the Bank thing here?
Yeah.
There, they basically like made banners out of like tables, ladders, and chairs, and Cena had Wade Barrett underneath like the chairs and like tugged on it, and all the chairs came and like fell on Wade Barrett. So like Cena like literally buried Wade Barrett, and like smashed the Nexus and all this shit. So like CM Punk shows up and he like, you know, the Straight Edge Society fell apart and blah, blah, blah. But like, he's still got like this like kind of cult leader thing about him. So he convinces the Nexus to let him be their leader. So when he comes out and the lower third says CM Punk, the Nexus, that's why, is because he's theoretically the leader of the Nexus. I think he's wearing a Nexus armband during the pipe bomb promo.
He is.
So like, Punk's voice of the voiceless thing is like true in the sense that he's speaking for fans, but also in the sense that he is speaking for like people in WWE who maybe did not get the opportunity to become major superstar because of Cena, who I think at this point had been gaining a reputation for burying wrestlers, like, you know, Mr. Kennedy and Barrett, and I think like Tyler Rex might have been like another victim of this. I'm serious.
Just a complete icon. No, I know. I'm just dying laughing. Like, yeah,
that might have been before or after or whatever. But like, yeah, like WWE was like really struggling to make new stars to the extent that they killed ECW and started a fucking weird ass game show where they had Michael Cole for 12 weeks say that Bryan Danielson was a sack of shit who would never make it in this fucking business. You fucking nerd, go back to Ring of Honor, and then do the same thing for Low-Ki the year after that, and then like literally bang a gong like for every woman. Like it was a bad time. Like it was a fucking nightmare. So like Cena, again, because he's the ace, is the face of this shit. Like you take the successes and you take the hits, and Cena is the avatar of fucking Vince McMahon, which matters a little bit because when he loses this, like Vince then is like, well, you're gonna get fired, pal, blah blah blah, which is why Cena challenges Rey Mysterio for the WWE title and like wins it and sets up the rematch sort of thing. All important context. Suffice to say though that like this atmosphere seemed impossible. Like last week we talked about Cena Batista. That is the biggest shot WWE could have fired without doing something like bringing The Rock back, which wound up being kind of a disaster creatively. And I think it happens after this, like 2012 might be the first Cena. I think that's the first Cena Rock match.
It is.
And it's a fucking disaster because like The Rock doesn't give a shit and Cena can't work with someone who doesn't want to work, and it's just bad, and like it is what it is. So this is a miracle. Like the fact that anyone gives a shit about this, even though it's Chicago, home field advantage, blah blah blah, whatever, like WWE town historically, always into stuff, great wrestling city. Still, this atmosphere in 2011, like picture, if you will, the meme of like anytime a wrestler dies and like they all like someone will post like that like gateway to heaven and like fucking like Ultimate Warrior is there and shit like that. It's like this, but like for fans. So like it's like heaven and like there's like fucking like Hat Guy and there's like Vladimir the super fan who's still with us. Like both of those dudes are. Like, you know, it's like basically like every wrestling, like the hat pin lady from like Memphis, the fucking old woman who's like swinging at Hulk Hogan on that episode of Nitro, like every motherfucker who's like roaring for Goldberg on Nitro, like they're all like fucking high-fiving us as we like ride to Valhalla on like the fucking fever pitch of this match, because this was impossible. Like, this was impossible. Yeah. Like, wrestling was dead. It felt dead. It felt so fucking dead, unless you were like at Ring of Honor, like baying for the blood of the Christopher Street Connection, like some fucking homophobe or some shit. Like, it was fucking dead. And then this happened. Like, how could you not act as if a new era happened as a consequence of like this dude and his weird little pierced lip and his like G.I. Joe tattoo wrestling fucking He-Man himself?
What is Martin Scorsese in Mean Street like hair? Like just slick back hair.
Yeah,
like, just
yeah,
completely like, oh my god, yeah.
It's crazy that his hair has gotten thicker in the interceding 15 years.
It
I wonder how that happened.
Turkey. Who knows? Maybe a nice Jewish boy from Long Island will be able to come on the podcast one day.
Like,
and tell
Cena
us.
just stopped, shaving his head like a jackass. I'm sure there's no hair transplants or anything there. Actually, Cena's very proud of his hair transplants.
Wait a minute, what the fuck are you talking about?
I know, I'm kidding.
See, yeah, okay, I was going to
I'm
say.
kidding. That's a
right,
joke.
Like, I know
That's a joke.
Carry the ball.
That's a joke. That's a
right.
joke. That's a joke.
Right.
That's a joke.
Right.
I'm sorry. I
okay.
also don't want to take like. Honestly, John Cena's attitude towards his hair transplants is one of the most humanizing things about John Cena.
That's 100% fair. No, but I think you're 100% right. Like, I mean, as I mentioned on the last episode, I really just think he's seen as at his best in a hostile environment, but especially when to really like kind of mix the Molotov cocktail about like making things interesting for Cena to me is also when there's like a layer of a surprise attached to it. And I think that like at this particular point, like with everything that I'm watching, like up to this point, like everything just feels so inevitable. Like I feel like I'm 3 or 4 moves ahead of the wrestler. Like I know where the counter's coming. I know when the shine spot's coming. That's not happening here. You're biting on everything. And so much of that has to do with like, he's leaning into the role of face of the company. I guess in gatekeeper in many ways. Even though I think that part of the thing with Phil has always been he always seems to be more aggrieved than he actually deserves to be, which in sometimes leads to very boring moments, and in other instances very successful moments. But
to this point, his grievances felt legitimate.
Yes.
And
100%,
also like
100%.
not to interrupt you, but like the surprise aspect of it, like the oh shit, anything could happen. I think that CM Punk's contract expiring after this match was a shoot.
Yes.
Like
it was.
That was, it's not like he's going to show up on Impact on Wednesday with the title or whatever. But like it was still like a thing where it's like, when was the last time WWE had allowed something like this to happen? Oh, Montreal. Like,
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Which works out for Phil. But if I'm not mistaken, the kayfabe story, whether or not it's true or not, is that he did sign his contract that day.
I bet.
That's to my knowledge.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, yeah. But he went into the arena not having a contract signed, or at least that's what the WWE sponsored state propaganda documentary would tell you.
I mean, they got his ass back. Like as soon as there was another match and it was time for fucking Alberto Del Rio to get the ball.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. But no, everything about this match, like it just really does like kind of combine like everything special about Cena to me. Being as dislikable and detestable as he is, like as like that sort of like hegemonic like symbol of like what a company should be. I mean, I think that like this match spawned so much. I wonder if we're talking about WWE at all if this doesn't work as well as it does. You mentioned that in the last podcast, right? Like without John Cena, like, maybe there is no Fed, and if there's no Fed, maybe we're not talking about wrestling. But I wonder, like, the same thing about this match. Like, if this match didn't sucker enough people like me into thinking that something might change, what would the future have looked like for WWE? It's almost impossible to figure out.
Oh, I mean, I think that WWE would still exist.
Yeah, of course.
But like it would be different. Like there would have been no specter of like really like mainstream acceptance. Like when I was talking about like little domino, big domino, like
Yep.
I'm not
Yep.
joking. Like I am, but like I'm not. Like it's very real. Like this was something that captivated people and was like drawing an audience and was causing outlets like ESPN in the form of Grantland and Rolling Stone and like a bunch of other places to like sit up and take notice about a product that like previously to this had really only been mentioned in the mainstream probably for early deaths, steroid busts, murder suicides, and the Kevin Federline match.
Yeah.
Like, and that's that. Like that's all there is to it. Like I think that like something that fans trick themselves into when they talk about this match and this quote unquote era is they trick themselves into believing that wrestling was on the verge of true mainstream acceptance. That's not true.
For sure.
Like wrestling will probably never be accepted in the mainstream. Like it's accepted in the sense that it exists, which is, one thing. But in the sense that it is like a major entertainment, that generates, hundreds of millions or singular billions of dollars or whatever, like who knows? Like that is something that they don't care about, and they don't care about it in the same way that they don't care about like video games, because it's something that gatekeepers in legacy media establishments don't understand, but they're willing to chase so long as it appears to be like something that'll garner return. That is what the reality era was. Also, WWE completely and thoroughly fumbled this. Like completely and thoroughly fumbled it. Because this is like CM Punk was already a star. He had already been the world champion at this point. And he had already, frankly, had like a couple of really great programs under his belt. Like I think that the Rey Mysterio thing that we talked about last week a little bit was great. The Jeff Hardy stuff, very good. But like this is John Cena like making a star. Like this is one of the most difficult things a wrestler in John Cena's position can do. This is John Cena's Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior, where he is making a star who is equal to him in the way that he performs and in how he puts over his opponent. And unlike Hulk Hogan, John Cena is a relatively selfless person for being such a savvy political operator. So he actually thoroughly does the job. Like there's no denying CM Punk's place in the WWE stratosphere after this match, like unless you're, Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard and Triple H and shit like that. Like, but for all intents and purposes, like John Cena has made it known, this man is my equal. This man has bested me. This man is just as capable of carrying the flag for this company as I am, and doing it in a different way, in a way that is unique to him, in a way that is personal to him, and in a way that people connect with just as deeply as they did when I was handed the same ball in 2005. It is a magnificent performance. The crazy thing is that it's not like, I think that like Cena has like maybe 4 matches like this. Like there's this one, there's the Daniel Bryan one at SummerSlam 2013, there's Lesnar, and like probably one other one. I don't know. He probably put someone over, like out of Walter or something. Like, like he is. It's what you're watching in this match is a wrestler who knows that they are bulletproof and being unafraid to take the shot, basically. Like Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 4 was bulletproof and still like big dogged Randy Savage. He was bulletproof at WrestleMania 6 and was leaving to become a movie star, but had to leave the door open just a little bit, Like,
Yeah.
John Cena leaves nothing on the table here. Like, he is full bore, flat out here to make a fucking statement about, like, what his legacy means, which is to say that, like, he is capable of putting on a match of this magnitude and this importance to, like, the history of the company. And so's this guy that I'm wrestling.
Yep. Do you have a favorite moment of this match?
The bruised beefcake sign. No, my favorite moment of this match is it's Punk leaving through the crowd. Like, that's like it has nothing to do with the match, and is probably something that, like, I don't know when we'll cover CM Punk on this podcast, like, in a serious way besides his role here. Is so different for WWE, and is also something that, like, it's simultaneously a callback to Cena's own championship win at WrestleMania over JBL, because Cena crowd surfs, and, like, celebrates with the fans and is like, this is our moment, blah, blah, blah. But, like, it's also, like, reminiscent of, like, People's Champion era DDP, right? Like, someone who got one over on the establishment and knows that, like, the forces of evil are coming for him, and is gonna bounce through the crowd and, like, kiss the bastard goodbye and like, see you next week sort of shit. Like, that's my favorite part, is, like, the release of, like, oh shit, this thing that I never thought would happened. Like, that's the promise of the match, and, like, WWE is so good at breaking it in a way that gets you to come back the next week anyhow, that, like, actually being rewarded is like something that is tough to truly describe. Like, CM Punk is not wrestling Kane at fucking Backlash next month. Other than that, like, I think that it's, like, the suplex to the outside, like, that sort of thing. Like, that's one of my favorite things about Cena and Punk's dynamic in general, is that it is so different from like, marquee WWE wrestling. Like, there's that Raw match where Punk breaks out the pile driver that everyone talks about all the time.
Right.
But, like, the real thing is not, like, the matches that they're doing, and more, like, the pace that they're setting. WWE in this era is like, fucking plagued by an imitator to NWA Championship Wrestling style matches in the form of Triple H, who wants every match of his to be a capital C classic, capital W wrestling, capital M match. And, like, without putting too fine of a fucking point on it, that's what Cena and Punk do. Like, they just do it because that's what the title means to them. Like, that's what the title means to them. That's what the title means to the audience. That's what the moment means to what they're doing. Like, they wrestle the sort of match that you need to wrestle in order to etch something into legend, and they do it at an absurd level. Like, the fact that I'm sitting here, like, right now with the match on in the background, like fucking reacting as the two of them, like, trade punches. Like, I'm so jaded on CM Punk at this moment in time. Like, it's 2026, and, like, I loved CM Punk forever. Like, he was my favorite fucking wrestler. Like, I've and stuff happened, like, things that aren't important, but, like, it's hard to not tap back into that, watching him struggle against this monolith of the company that he has battled against since he arrived there, with, like, the launch of ECW on Sci-Fi, which is one of the great promotions of all time. It's fucking great. It's fucking great. It's fucking great. Like, I think you would have to, you'd have to be heartless to tell me that this isn't one of the greatest wrestling matches in the history of this company.
It easily is. It's without question. You said the most important. I think that it's tough to identify that post Austin. I think there are probably, unfortunately, some matches in the zeitgeist from the last couple of years that probably deserve to be included in that.
Like what?
I can't wait for the Cody Rhodes episode.
Nah, you're wrong. You're fucking wrong.
I'm not saying that
I'm hanging up right now.
High.
Do you think that any Cody Rhodes match is as important as this? Maybe the one where a rubber chicken gets thrown in the ring afterwards. Fuck him.
I think what I'm meaning to say is I think that there are arguments to be made that there are some from the last couple of years that you could include in them. Whether or not I'd put them ahead of this, I would not. It's one of those things though. It's like, well, two pronged. First off, I just want to say one of my favorite things in the matches is the finish. After trading blows like for a bit, I love the visual image of McMahon coming out, Cena walking out, and then basically just saying, "You are not going to fuck finish this in the way that you typically fuck finish this."
Oh yeah,
this
you're not going to Montreal.
I want it. Exactly. Well, even beyond that, I'm even just thinking about, like, you talked about in the last episode, there are instances in which she's too much of a coward to like let someone win clean, right? And it's almost this like visual representation of like, actually, to me, like, you're not gonna like come out here and allow for like a dumb ref bump. You're not gonna interfere. Like, you've basically just caused a distraction for me to roll back into the ring and then get go to sleep to fucking infinity. It probably the best version of Punk's go to sleep. That's just the one thing that I appreciate the most about it. But the thing that we'll talk about this with other matches as well, especially the last one that you added to the syllabus. But I think the thing that like just makes it difficult to say this is the most important is that like this is a company that just is insistent on shooting itself in the foot to diminish the possible returns they could get on any moment like this.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, it probably is, but it's so hard not to be like, oh, like what else could have been had you not been afraid of running with the person who will be subject of a different podcast. But yeah, I think more than anything else, what's important here is just that like none of this is even possible to happen without Cena. And what happens next with Cena's career is, I think, just so infinitely interesting. Should we pivot to the Mysterio match? I want
to say two things in response to what you just said as a transition into the rest of Cena's career.
Sure.
First of all, I think that this is the most important match of like the last 25 or so years of WWE because of two, like, I said first of all, but I'm going to give you two reasons as to why this is what I think it is. First is because in Punk winning and in the immediate success of it, it gives WWE the template that they have consistently used almost every 3 years since this match to convince fans that things are changing. This is the same template that they use with Daniel Bryan. This is the same template that they use with Kofi Kingston. This is the same template that they use with Cody Rhodes. Like, they hit this thing over and over again, and it works every fucking time because they've worn their audience to a nub in terms of like their patience and ability to do whatever. Honestly, like it almost gives you the template for like the like the only big WWE change that feels different than this is like the women's revolution, where like a worker was like, we're not being given the opportunity to do anything, and like Vince McMahon had to tweet "stay tuned" or whatever, and then things slowly changed to the point where now women get 20% of a card as opposed to like 5 minutes.
Right.
Some fucking revolution. But like this is like this is the invention of jangling keys, is what I'll say. And I hate to say that about like a formula that has given like wrestling fans, especially wrestling fans with an interest in like WWE or like, you know, the idea of like a long suffering like worker in the WWE system or whatever, like those fans deserve, and those wrestlers deserve, like, you know, closure or euphoria or whatever a wrestling match is supposed to give you, just as much as anyone else. So like the fact that it's kind of like a red herring sucks.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, this is the genesis of that. The other thing that this match does, which is why I also think that it is as important as it is, it gives John Cena the character motivation slash basically the template for the rest of his career in terms of motivation, match structure, curiosity about the outside world, like all of that. Like from here up until this point, up until the CM Punk match, like Cena's championship programs and Cena's feuds had largely been against dudes who one could call charitably WWE products. Like even if they had outside experience or whatever, like you know, he was wrestling Batista, he was wrestling Bobby Lashley, he was wrestling Umaga, he was wrestling fucking John Bradshaw Layfield, like all these WWE guys or WWE ideas. And there's something to be said for like kind of the ideological nature of those matches, but outside of his feud against ECW, like there hadn't really been like that hadn't really been the focal point of John Cena. Like when you heard fans chanting, you know, let's go Cena, Cena sucks, like it was a response to Cena. Outside of the Rob Van Dam thing, which I guess is like kind of like the prequel to this match, where let's go Cena are people who love John Cena and Cena sucks are people who love the alternative. Like they love the alternative, and that is what CM Punk is. That is also what Daniel Bryan is. That is also what AJ Styles is. That is what Kevin Owens is. That is what so many people who come after CM Punk are in the milieu of John Cena opponents. That's what Samoa Joe is. That's what Brock Lesnar is in 2014.
Yep.
And none of that, I really, really think that none of that would have happened had not this match gone off the way that it went off. And part of that,
I mean, feels like a fair argument.
And part of that, you know, is necessary. Like the Rey Mysterio match, which I love that match. Did you watched it? You actually?
I did. Yeah. I don't think I have a ton to say about it, but I'm definitely curious to hear what you have to say about it.
I mean, I've written about it, but like I think that is one of those things where like, you know, the question of like, why does John Cena wrestle Rey Mysterio? Like, why does he demand to have a match with Rey Mysterio on the same night that Rey Mysterio has already wrestled for the WWE Championship is very easily answered in the sense that like, well, John Cena has, for the first time in his whole career, found out that he is not the end all be all of this company. And if he does not win that championship back tonight, he may not get a second chance to prove himself. And that is something that, you know, really, shakes his character to the core. It's more pronounced later, like when he loses to The Rock, and the night after losing to The Rock, Brock Lesnar shows up to whoop his ass. But like that Mysterio match is like one of those things where it's like, well, sometimes John Cena doesn't act like a baby face for somebody who's like a generational baby face or whatever. And it's like, well, you're right, but he's been pushed to his fucking limit and he's got no recourse but to throw a challenge out to a wrestler that he respects on a night that should by all rights be his, though also like his being WWE champion would have been it's an empty championship because the championship belongs to CM Punk. So like him fighting Mysterio and like it's such a blast. It's such a fun match. Like God, it's tough to say that WWE didn't do as much as they should have with Rey Mysterio. But God damn it, if that match doesn't make a solid argument that they could have done more with him that year. Yeah, like it's just the thing where like Cena transitions from this match to the back half of his career into a like questioning my identity and the identity of WWE as like a main character thing, slash dream match wrestler. And, yeah, I think that it wouldn't have been possible without this Money in the Bank match.
I'll admit at the moment, my brain is hyperfixated on which title is which, because I get confused quite frankly very often when it comes to this in this fucking company. But you said that this title belongs to CM Punk. Is this the belt that Punk just had? It is, right?
So here's what happens. CM Punk in kayfabe does not re-sign with WWE.
Right now, like I remember.
Month.
Okay.
So like he takes the title with him. The next night on Raw, it might be the next night or it might be the week after, Vince McMahon says that WWE needs a champion. So there's going to be a match between Mysterio and The Miz. And like Mysterio and The Miz have a match that's so good that it forms about 50% of the argument for The Miz as a good wrestler, with the other 50% being that Talking Smack segment with Daniel Bryan. Like it's fooled a lot of people. Like, so there's that. And then after Mysterio wins, it's his first time winning the WWE championship, but it's basically an interim title. Cena challenges for it, and wins, and then challenges Punk to come back, and Punk accepts the challenge, and they have a rematch.
Got it.
And the World Heavyweight Championship is probably around like Jack Swagger's waist or some shit. It's
a great company.
It's the best.
It's just a fantastic company.
Some call it the worldwide leader in sports entertainment.
Oh, boy. Well, speaking of which, I know that the next match on our syllabus is one you've argued as being John Cena's best match. John Cena versus Brock Lesnar at Extreme Rules 2012.
Yep.
Fun match. I'll admit, anything of Brock's that goes longer than 10 minutes, I get very angry about. So that's like kind of an uphill battle for me to begin with. But I'm sure I'll talk about that a little bit more in a few minutes. But what makes you say that this is Cena's best match?
That's a good question. I think that what makes it Cena's best match, I already want to walk that back, because I like, in talking about Money in the Bank, I'm like just so like, oh, that's Cena's best match. But it's different. It's a different match. Cena again is basically laying everything on the line to immediately legitimize somebody in the eyes of the crowd. Not that Brock Lesnar needs a lot of help with that, but it has been a long time since Lesnar was in a WWE ring. And, you know, the relationship between MMA and wrestling was kind of always like a big brother sort of thing. Like, as soon as Ultimate Fighting became like the number one combat sport in the world, like wrestling was the little brother. And like Lesnar, when he shows up the night after Cena loses the once in a lifetime match to The Rock, says that his goal is to legitimize WWE. So he is putting Cena on notice, like as the face of WWE. But Cena is not so sure of himself as the face of the WWE, because he's faced a lot of setbacks recently. Like, there's a lot of holes in Cena's armor for the first time in a while. All of that could have led to a very regular match, and it would have been fine. But instead of that, John Cena like charges in at Brock Lesnar and immediately gets his ass handed to him. Like,
just fucking rocked.
He gets fucking rocked. This match, like, So the problem with Brock Lesnar in WWE, there's many problems, but like in 2014, the problem with Brock Lesnar in WWE is that there are some people on the roster, Triple H, who want to prove that what they do is more worthy than what Brock Lesnar spent his time doing, and thus spend a ponderous amount of time in the Kimura and win stuff and make it such that the only way to get Brock Lesnar into championship positioning is to give the Undertaker a serious concussion at WrestleMania 30 and end the streak. John Cena has no such problem. He is so giving of himself in this match that it is it's almost admirable, I want to say. Like, he charges into so many of Brock Lesnar's elbows that, like, again, this is an era where blood is not very common.
Yeah.
He just starts leaking from the top of his head. It's disgusting. And like Lesnar keeps working at it. There's a part where like Lesnar has him in a tree of woe on the outside of the ring, which is nuts. Like where like you can like basically see like viscera leaking from fucking John Cena's forehead, like onto the ring apron. Like it is gnarly. And that is hard way juice. Like he's like, he is walking, he's in the ring against the former UFC World Heavyweight Championship and allowing the guy to tee off on him, basically.
And I think that I just want to call attention to like, to just kind of like reiterate it, just so it, just kind of back you up on this.
Yeah.
I do think that if you have not watched this match, if you don't want to watch the match, fine.
Totally.
You should probably, but at minimum, I do feel like the first like 4 minutes of it are like must watch WWE wrestling.
Yeah.
So like, there is no way that we'd be able to like with words put into words like how brutal the elbows that Brock is throwing at him to start and how fucking vicious the lariat is that he lands.
The lariat
on him.
is so nasty.
Terrifying. And it I am sure Cena's shit got rocked to eternity, but credit to him, because if selling is making you believe that somebody's shit got rocked to eternity, he just looks completely fucking gassed, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
When they're doing the stoppage with the blood.
I mean,
I just wanted to call attention to that.
It's great. It's so good. Like, I know that earlier I said, like last week I said that, Cena had found like his Vader in Umaga. But there aren't any, like, I don't think that there's another wrestler like in American wrestling history who has worked more towards what Vader was doing in like the early 90s than Brock Lesnar, like from his return forward. Basically, he's a different animal, like in his early run, when he wants to show off like shooting star presses and like muffler locks and shit like that. But like when he comes back from UFC, he does three things, not counting the F5. He strikes you, he puts you in the Kimura, and he suplexes you. He's fucking Vader. And he has the same weaknesses as Vader, which is like, only Vader never turned purple during a match. Brock Lesnar did routinely. That's fair. Like the deeper you go into a match, the more likely you are that the advantage will turn against him. He's prone to egotism. He is prone to screwing up in ways that seem small until it turns out that it's really the start of like an avalanche. Like him doing that like jump off of the stairs hammer fist thing that ends up with him like landing on his head on the outside and then getting up anyhow and being like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, like sort of shit. Like it's an incredible Brock Lesnar performance, but much like the CM Punk match,
I'm watching the match back and I just got to that portion.
It's awesome.
Of him falling out of the fucking ring.
None of that is
great.
possible without Cena as the thing against which Lesnar is pushing. Like none of it. And Cena is so receptive. it's more like I feel like the SummerSlam match with like the Suplex City horse shit is way more famous. Especially for this, but like there's a part early in the match where like Cena takes a couple of German suplexes, and you don't really realize this because like not many people German suplex John Cena. But he's really good at taking a German suplex. Like going back to his first match against Kurt Angle, like Kurt gets him with like a couple that are like big, mean German suplexes, and Cena's like a 260-pound like wall of muscle. Lesnar is he doesn't care. Like he doesn't give a shit. Like he is out here to like hurt this fucking man, and he does. And like it's so satisfying to see Cena work against that. I think that the big criticism against this match at the time, and probably still, was that, you know, quote unquote Lesnar should have won or whatever. But like I don't think that's true.
I don't know.
I think that's bullshit. Like Lesnar is a special guest star, and like he doesn't like, you get everything that you need in terms of like understanding what Brock Lesnar does to change the situation in WWE in watching him thoroughly wreck John Cena's shit. John Cena coming back and winning, particularly in the fashion that he does, which is desperate and, you know, I guess somewhat unsportsmanlike considering that he's using a chain or whatever, you know, is like, all right, cool. This dude, this wrestler, John Cena, who is dealing with like an identity crisis in the sense that like he is not the bulletproof wrestler that he used to be. CM Punk had his number. The Rock had his number. The fans who are chanting, "Let's go Cena," don't sound as convinced as they used to. Well, here we fucking go. Like, here's this guy who has been told that the business, the company that he has dedicated his life to is child's play, and is in thorough need of modernization, and that he's the man to do it, and that John Cena can go and get fucked. And I think that John Cena, like, taking it as much as he does for as long as he does in this match, only to turn it around and win, not in a thoroughly convincing way, because he FUs Lesnar onto the steps. You know, it's not like he taps Lesnar out. It's not like he does something that like affects Lesnar's aura or whatever. He wins in a way that makes Brock Lesnar look like the fucking megastar of WWE. I think
it wouldn't be the time for him to win.
Yeah.
I think they capitalize on it in the right period 2 years later. And I think that the other thing that I just kind of want to contribute to this is that like one thing that sort of what this match does is sort of like kind of like forcing Cena to reach in that place of desperation. Is it does sort of like what you said, like the chants aren't as loud, right? For Let's Go Cena. And one of the difficulties of that, when you brought that up, the thing that I just immediately started thinking about is that like Cena fans age up, like, you know, I mean, like he's appealing to children, right? But one of the things that's like super impressive about like this match, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, even what he was able to do last year, is that I cannot think of another wrestler who throughout the span of their 25-year career was able to remain a babyface to 3 different generations of children the way that this man has.
No.
Did Hogan?
No, Hogan definitely didn't. Rey Mysterio.
No. But not to the level, nearly to the level that Cena did.
No. And in like a sneaky way.
Tanahashi.
In like a sneaky way. I think Mysterio is more popular than most people give him credit for.
Oh, yeah. But like he's not the face of the company, right? Like you don't see like I'm looking in this match and I see like 2 fucking 3-year-old kids decked out in headbands and in green headbands and green You Can't See Me shirts, and like, you know, they're just
they're about to watch their hero die.
No, but that's the thing, he doesn't, right? Like he reestablishes himself as like, you know, you can do it. Like if you hustle, loyalty, respect your way, if you say his version of saying your prayers and eating your vitamins, which in a way is a little bit more earnest than the id of Hulk Hogan, right? Or the ideology of Hulk Hogan. And I think that I don't know if I think this is the best Cena match. I think it's a fucking incredible effort, Herculean, in terms of what he's able to do, while not being the center of the company. But
I think that
I think I should
more controversial way of putting it is that like this is one of the best matches like WWE has put on this millennium, and it is almost entirely on the back of a Cena performance.
Sure.
Lesnar's doing his bit, but his bit is to like be intimidating and throw dude around without giving a shit how he lands, I feel like it's like kind of like a similar. I already kind of compared it to the Punk performance, but like again, like it's one of those things where like he is giving entirely of his aura and his body in order to establish something new and different for WWE. And he did it so well that it worked until mysterious circumstances made Brock Lesnar not so popular amongst the people anymore.
Right.
I mean, also a lot of the credit for that ends up getting thrown the way of the SummerSlam match, which if you want to talk about that one while we're talking about Lesnar, just to as much as I would love to talk about Ryback or Mark Henry, I love Ryback, but we don't have to cover like everything. And we should talk a little bit about Daniel Bryan, but
that's the thing. I want to talk about the Daniel Bryan match.
We can go back to the Daniel Bryan match, but I think that we can cover these two Lesnar matches like at the same time, because like they're like kind of two sides of the same coin. Where like in this match, Cena gives a ton of himself and overcomes tremendous arduous circumstances and proves himself to be the greatest wrestler in WWE history or whatever. And at SummerSlam, he eats 8 suplexes and 75 F5s and dies. A lot of which is, again, like, I'm hardly saying that Lesnar was just there, but like Cena's the one taking the brunt of all of that shit. Like he puts in so much into that match to make it work. And it breaks so many established things for what's happening in WWE. I think ultimately to the detriment of Lesnar, not so much to Cena, but Lesnar, I think, having discovered that this works, when he doesn't want to have a match, he just leans into Suplex City and accepts the fact that he's a meme wrestler, which I know meme wrestler is something that gets thrown around for dudes like Danhausen, but I think that when people are counting how many suplexes you're doing, you're just as much of a meme wrestler as Danhausen. Like Cena fully establishes Lesnar as like the main heel of WWE for like the next 10 years in those two matches. One of them, I think, is just the more interesting way of going about it. And if anything, like the big problem with it is that the person who immediately got to explore what Cena established at Extreme Rules is Triple H. Like seriously, like I think that's the problem. Like if it weren't for the fact that Lesnar went from Extreme Rules to fiddle fucking around with Hunter for the summer, like people would think much differently about that Extreme Rules match than they do. The SummerSlam match is great. But it's like not my preferred match between the two of them.
I can't blame you for that entirely, and I'm going to go ahead and make my argument about why that is. What argument am I going to make here? Okay, I'm not going to make an argument quite yet, but what I am going to say is that is easily my favorite John Cena match, the Lesnar and SummerSlam one, and I do want to give some context about that because I think it matters a little bit. So I had gotten back into wrestling right during the build to WrestleMania 30. And so a lot of those things about like, you know, like the promise of what could be with WrestleMania, had not been established to me quite yet. Like I hadn't been bit on any of those things. I did not know that like Bryan wasn't going to keep that title for all that long, or sorry, Daniel wasn't going to keep the title for all that long. And also his neck injury really impacted that as well. But that was like a really crucial, it was like a really kind of like interesting time for WWE, because it did seem like no matter what, their plans were shifting. And then on top of that, we were headed towards the aim to establish 3 new stars in Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. But like there was a bridge you had to get there, right? And I think what is super impressive to me about the SummerSlam match, and the reason why it's my favorite Cena match, is that I am not somebody who is ever interested in Brock Lesnar, like ever. Like I haven't said it yet, but like my number one wrestler of all time is Sabu. I have always leaned towards like smaller work rate guys. Like that's just has been like largely like what I cared about in wrestling. I think that's shifted a lot over the last couple of years. But when I came back into wrestling and like I had this promise of this like tiny, incredible worker in Daniel Bryan, and to know that that was gone, like to have like something to get invested in was like pretty difficult for me. And like the inevitability of Lesnar and Cena, I was just bored out of my fucking mind. But a fun story about this match is that I had just sort of established a relationship with somebody who you know pretty well. I think maybe you don't, but Dan Brady, the poetry editor at Barrel House. Do you know him?
No, not personally.
Okay. Sweet dude. I lived in DC for a bit. Barrel House is a literary journal that's out of DC that touches a lot on pop culture.
Yeah.
And when I was this is more for the listeners, not you, because no one else is gonna fucking know what Barrel House is. But long and short of it is that like Colette and I were both like pretty steeped into the literary industry, and like me liking wrestling was like a dirty secret. And I started tweeting about it, and Dan, who's the poetry editor at Barrel House, like started responding to me about like the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. And I was just like, holy shit, we should watch this. Cause I didn't know anybody that I could talk to about wrestling with. So we went over to Dan's house, watched it with his wife and his kid. His kid was a huge John Cena fan, begged to stay up late to watch the Lesnar match at SummerSlam, got the permission cause it was the weekend. And I was just thinking like, right? Like I barely care about either of these guys, right? But I get to watch in this 4-year-old's face, like the hope that he has just get like destroyed.
Yeah.
Like slowly to the point where he is just weeping uncontrollably. And I'm just in my head just thinking like, this is what Brock Lesnar should have been. Like, I fucking love this guy. Yeah. This is incredible. He's killing dreams. He's smashing them entirely.
This is your Buffalo Wild Wings story.
It is my Buffalo. It absolutely is my Buffalo. It was through the eyes of Dan Brady's
only
child.
I was watching adults get their dreams smashed, and you were watching a child.
Right, and I guess that says a lot about me as a kid, me as a person who's. I had a transphobe in my mentions this week, defending Will Ospreay, telling me that a freak like me should not be around children. I was on my head just like I think you need to pick your audience better because I don't want to be around children in the first place, let alone trying to indoctrinate them, as you imagine I am. But anyway, all to essentially say is that like for me, the reason why I just love this match is that it just like sort of established. Brock is like a person who could crush people. And I know that had been the case. Like I knew who he was. Like it's not like I didn't know, but like anytime he popped back in, and even like when I like tried to get back into wrestling, like in the 2000s, like his presence was just so despicable to me, and I didn't really know where that energy should go. And what this match did for me was that it just really kind of, to your point, it centered him as being like this like an unstoppable force for a decade. In ways that like the SummerSlam match for The Undertaker didn't even do. Like I watched that match and like, you know, that was a shocker. No one really expected it. But like,
Hell in a Cell match?
No, the streak breaker.
Oh, WrestleMania, not SummerSlam.
Yeah, WrestleMania. Yeah, my apologies. But yeah, like I watched that match just thinking like, oh, okay, cool. The streak's over. This is supposed to be a big deal. Why is it this fucking guy? Yeah. He's already a name.
I mean, I was there for that, and I was like, I kind of enjoyed the silence. It was fun.
I bet. I mean, like, as somebody who was just getting back into wrestling, it just felt shocking to me. They'd be like, oh, it's this established name.
Yeah, why not?
What Cena did in that match. What'd you say?
Why not A-Train?
Yeah. Oh God, that would have been fucking sick. Actually.
The Machininator.
Yeah. No.
Who stops the streak
Yeah.
at WrestleMania 19.
Totally. But no, yeah, I think like what I loved about what the SummerSlam match did was it just established Lesnar as this beast, and you felt it in the Extreme Rules match.
Yeah.
But for me, if it's not Cena who he's destroying, that doesn't fucking mean a thing. Like if that's Bryan or Daniel, it doesn't matter nearly as much. But to do it to the guy who has been the face of the company for 15 years is just like, holy fucking shit. I just like, he takes the beating so well. It's such a shock. And it's this moment where like everything about Cena had felt inevitable. And this is an instance where it did not. And it's because of his work. It truly is. I don't know if there's anyone else I'd rather watch get an ass beating from Lesnar, in the same manner. And I don't mean that in like that I hate Cena. I just,
No.
he's just so fucking good at it.
Yeah, no. I think that's kind of one of the secrets of Cena's success in general. Like not just against Lesnar, but like Cena is really good at taking a beating. He's exceptional at it. Like,
mm-hmm.
I think that my other thing with the SummerSlam Lesnar match though is, and this has nothing to do with how good the match is or isn't, or Cena or Lesnar, really. It's just that like you're dealing with a company in which like things are so weak. Like that's 2014, so we are well past the summer of Punk, and in the time where that match and WrestleMania 30 and whatever else has happened, like they have established no other wrestlers besides maybe Punk and maybe Bryan who would be capable of taking on Lesnar in any serious capacity. Like
right.
they've created a monster for which there is no Dragon Slayer.
Right.
And like that's not good. Like that's not good.
Yeah.
But it's a great, I think it's a great match. It's certainly, it's famous for a reason. I think maybe one of the reasons too that I like Extreme Rules a lot is that Paul Heyman isn't there doing Paul Heyman shit.
That's a good point. That's a very fair point.
Heyman had not yet exhausted his one trick to the point that he now has. But like, how many times can I watch the eyes bug out of Paul Heyman's head? Like the atmosphere has just been depleted from the dome on Mars and Total Recall, and give a shit. Like I don't care. Like he's a good manager. He's a great manager at one point in his career. But like that crutch is not so great. And boy, oh boy, if that match isn't the launching point for a trillion tired ass Paul Heyman cliches.
Goddamn true.
So yeah, I want to go back to SummerSlam 2013, the year before the Lesnar match, because I do think that it is important to talk about Cena versus Daniel Bryan. The launching point of the 2014 WrestleMania triumph being this match that ultimately is all about Triple H. It's not about the wrestlers, but it's all about Triple H.
Sure. Before you dive in, I just kind of want to ask you, generally speaking, what was your opinion of Bryan at this point? Were you a firm believer in him being GOAT at this point?
Yeah, he was my favorite wrestler. I mean,
Okay.
I say that about a lot of wrestlers, but Daniel Bryan, when he got fired from WWE for choking Justin Roberts out with a tie on an episode of Raw, was basically immediately announced to be wrestling Eddie Kingston at the show We Must Eat Michigan's Brain, run by Chikara at the Taylortown Trade Center in glorious Taylor, Michigan. A flea market that is one block from my second favorite iteration of my favorite Coney Island chain in the state of Michigan. That's the Senate, for those of you checking in. And that was my first indie wrestling show. And if you watch it, you can see me give Tim Donst maybe the weakest chop of all time on it. But I fell in love with indie wrestling because I fell in love with Bryan Danielson via the worst show in WWE history, like the worst weekly show WWE has ever run, which is NXT, version 1.
Yeah.
Like I fell in love with that motherfucker so hard that I bought a ticket to a show where ants were wrestling like living baseballs and shit that I couldn't have cared less about. And I fell in love with Chikara at that show, and I fell in love with Eddie Kingston at that show. And it was the first time I'd seen Danielson wrestle live. It was also the first time I'd seen Eddie Kingston wrestle live, and it means a great deal to me all these years later that the last live match that I saw of Bryan Danielson's was at AEW Revolution 2024, where he wrestled Eddie Kingston. So by this point in 2013, I would say that there were two good wrestlers in the world who worked for WWE in my stupid brain. One of them was Charles Montgomery Punk, and the other one was Daniel Bryan. And like John Cena, I guess too, but like fucking where are we at? SummerSlam 2013. Yeah, we're a good
2013. Yeah,
we're a good like 4 months removed from Batista coming back and reclaiming the throne as greatest of all time in WWE history. So yeah, like I had lived through the summer of Punk 2 and knew that things weren't going to be maybe the perfect utopia that I had once imagined. But I was deeply in the pocket for Daniel Bryan, and I really wanted him to win this match. And I kind of had a feeling that it was going to happen, despite Triple H being the special guest referee. This motherfucker doesn't even have his goddamn shirt tucked in.
He does have his pants tucked into his boots, though.
Seriously. Yeah, I hate him. When we do an episode on Triple H, it's going to be the hardest.
I can't wait.
For me.
We might kill each other. We might take our anger out on each other instead of him.
That's what happened with Big
Egg. This man.
We used to promote that we were doing like months, like it's Hunter month. We're gonna do 4 matches in 4 weeks, and then we hit Hunter month, and it took us 2 months to do 4 matches. It'll take us 4 months to record 1 episode of Triple H.
Yep.
So yeah, like I knew that it wasn't going to be like what I thought. Like I knew that like I lost the capacity to believe that WWE was going to do the right thing for its business and make somebody the guy that they didn't think should be the guy. I was so fucking right too, because that's exactly what happens at the end of this match. Like,
God, they just piss in your face at the end of this match.
It's not quite like awful. At least it's Randy Orton. Granted, it's like the worst Randy Orton. Like, this is a bad time for Randy Orton. Randy Orton's fine. It's not Alberto Del Rio. It's not Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah.
Like, at least it's not Alberto Del Rio. Like, holy shit, imagine if it was Alberto Del Rio. The fact that they thought that they could have an Evolution versus Evolution WrestleMania main event in 2014, like Vince McMahon was smoking straight crack, like fucking whoa, astonishing. But yeah, no, I think that Cena Bryan is great. I think that if I don't give it the same amount of like brain energy as I do Punk Cena, it's because this is following in that template to the extent that there's a spot early on where like Cena hears the crowd reactions and like points me and which is what Punk does in 2011. And also he leans a lot into the like, this is something like one of the things that I don't like about Danielson every now and again is that like he'll do that thing where like he'll accuse his opponent, who is very clearly a good wrestler, of not being able to wrestle or whatever. But against Cena, it's even worse because it feels like a callback to like the Shawn Michaels WrestleMania program, where that's what Shawn cared about. And it's like, dude, shut up. Shut the fuck up, Shawn. Like, who are you? I will answer that question eventually. Not to say that Shawn Michaels isn't a good wrestler, but like, I don't know, man. Like, if you were really cut down in your prime by the same thing that made you so powerful, which is drugs and alcohol.
This is a really good opportunity to shout out friends of the podcast, Wrestling is Gross, who ranked Shawn Michaels #1 for GWE gayest wrestler ever. Yeah, shout outs to Bucky and Co.
I got in real trouble
Um,
for saying that Shawn Michaels and Triple H were not bisexual, and I'm standing by
I remember
that.
that one.
I'm standing by
I
that.
remember that one.
I'm standing by it. I'm sorry. I didn't live through fucking 1997 with people crotch chopping me saying "suck my dick, faggot" to be told that the dudes responsible for that taunt are bisexual.
He said that he was by other things. Exactly one other time. What are you talking
He
about?
said that he was by
think,
other things, but not bilingual.
not bisexual, bilingual, right? Yeah, he's
Yeah,
bicontinental.
that's the quote. Yeah, no, that doesn't mean that he's bisexual either. Like, whatever.
Yeah, no, I
Who
think
cares?
the thing with the Bryan match is that I'm just saying, I mean, we can talk about trips all day if you want. I think the thing about the Bryan match is you're right? Like it's very much in the template of the Punk match from the year before. I mean, it almost follows it to a T, in terms of like piecing structure is a little different.
It's the same story too. Like it's the same story. Like the CM Punk story is that Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis don't want this indie chump to win their title.
Yeah.
And here at SummerSlam 2013, Triple H, who has called Daniel Bryan a B+ player already at this point, I'm sure, is doing the exact same thing. Like it's the same fucking story.
Yeah.
Which doesn't take away from the match itself, because
no, that's the thing. That was my point. My point was going to be the match is worked, I think, better than the Cena match, than the Punk match, which I think is more of a testament to Daniel than anything else. But it does really let you show that like that you can't wrestle shit with Cena. It's pretty much bullshit. I hope everyone is noticing how I am coming around on Cena.
Yeah, you're being won
because
over.
It does happen. Yeah, and I'm not going to talk about it, right? Like, but there are other matches that are like are on our syllabus that I think are definitely worth watching. You mentioned the Henry match, that's on there. The Ryback match is one that you put on there. Bless you for that. But that's a me issue, and I know one that you probably would not agree with, and that we're not going to touch on at all tonight is the 3-way at Royal Rumble 2015.
I just didn't have time to watch that one.
That's fine. I don't want to say anything about it particularly. But I think that there are moments just where I like start coming around on him, and a lot of it has to do with like what he's able to do from a work rate perspective. It erases a lot of the things that I think about from the era previous. It's like funny because like I do think that like so much of what happens in WWE post 2010 is so boring, but when he just goes against the grain of about like sort of that structure, he's able to sort of exhibit like ways to reach me emotionally that he hadn't the decade before.
Yeah.
Which
leads us to maybe the second. Now it's the second most. It used to be the most controversial period of Cena's career, I think. Which on our syllabus we have this represented with Cena versus Neville. But I think we can probably talk about it just in general, sort of broadly as well.
Yeah.
Like, well, you know, like I think that the Neville match is good. I put it on there for a reason. Largely because I didn't want to talk about Cena versus Cesaro again.
That's fine.
And like I haven't gone back and done my due diligence on this period of Cena as much as I would like to. When Joseph and I, Jesus, every time I remember Neville's Mighty Mouse gimmick where he's like the littlest superhero. God, Vince McMahon hated short dudes who were jacked.
He did.
And I just love Pac. I love Pac. He's so good.
He's great.
But like the phrase "work rate Cena" is one that is extremely divisive, for good reason, I think. Like there are some really great matches, and for those of y'all who maybe don't have like a working encyclopedic knowledge of eras of John Cena's career or whatever, which I don't either, to be fair. I'm referring to like the 2015 run that he had as the United States Championship, where every week he would basically lay out like an open challenge. And someone would come and take it, and like it would either be someone like Neville or someone like Zack Ryder. And like if it was like Neville, you'd get a good match, and if it was Zack Ryder, you would get Zack Ryder doing a 450 splash. So like people were like fucking like, whoa, this is insane. Like, oh, John Cena, he's going nuts. And like it really kind of culminates in like the main roster debuts of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, who gets like a real like feud run with Cena as like, you know, again, kind of like this indie representative, but at this point no longer, like the indies don't fucking matter anymore. We're talking about black and gold NXT, baby.
Yes.
Like ROH can fuck off because they didn't like Kevin Steen anyhow. But yeah, so this John Cena, where like someone has either informed him of how good all these wrestlers on the roster are, or he's like William Regal has like filled him in about the Battle of Los Angeles and PWG or whatever.
And he's like watched one tape, like one.
He watched one Bola.
Yeah, right.
And he starts like adding shit to like his repertoire. Like he's always been a guy who like reactionarily like adds stuff to his moveset. Like again, like the FU, his finisher, the attitude adjustment, that's a response to the F5. It is basically an F5 without the little spinny boy attached to it. The STFU is because he's in a submission match, and what are you going to do? You don't have a submission. When he's wrestling dudes that he can't give an attitude adjustment to is when he adds the top rope leg drop to what he's up to.
Yep.
Like he is a guy who adds stuff as needed to his arsenal. And I think most infamously in this era, the thing that he adds to his arsenal is something he does not need at all, which is a slingshot stunner, or a springboard
the
stunner.
Slingshot, yeah,
like,
the springboard stunner,
which might be the worst move any major wrestler has. Like in fucking 1999, when Hulk Hogan is having a midlife crisis, he starts calling himself a Woodmaster and dressing in Junko jeans.
Right.
In 2015, when John Cena is having a midlife crisis, he decides he's gonna do the fucking Cody cutter, but land on his ass every time.
Yep. And the Code Red. That's the other one that sticks out to me.
It's very bad.
The completely unnecessary.
It's very
the Code
bad.
Red was what.
Yeah, the
colonization of the Code Red.
Yeah, and like this is also kind of the era too, where like people go back to like the notion of like John Cena burying talent or whatever. Like in the Neville match that I picked, it's a great match that ends in a fuck finish because they're building to Cena versus Rusev. So Rusev interferes. And like, you know, Rusev Machka, blah, 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 whatever the fuck. And, that's how it ends, is with him holding the US title. It's fine. And also, like, you know, just like many people that John Cena has quote unquote buried, I think that with the benefit of hindsight, he might have been a little bit right on that one. You know, not to say that Rusev hasn't had great matches or that Miro doesn't have some wonderful moments, but also like, imagine putting that guy at the top of your company. Holy shit.
No. When you think about everybody that they had opportunities to kind of like mint, that it's that guy who we've just been proven time and time again is nothing.
No.
But it's such an interesting choice.
But I think that there is as much good about this era of Cena as there is bad. I think that this is where John Cena starts to lose his, like earlier on, I think maybe last week, you said that Cena was a wrestler who maybe more so than anybody in the history of American wrestling, or at least in WWE, like understood who he was and what people wanted from him and knew exactly how to give it to them. And I think that this period of Cena's career, and it doesn't matter which matches you have fond memories of, but I think overall what he is doing is proof that he has kind of lost the handle on that. It's interesting. I think that it's interesting to see people experiment. Like, I especially think it's interesting in the sense that like we are nearing the end of John Cena as a regular weekly television and pay-per-view wrestler. And I think that it is interesting and admirable, frankly, for someone in his position to branch out and try things the way that John Cena did. And I think that there's a lot of great stuff there. There's this Neville match that I mentioned. I Need to go back and watch the Sami Zayn stuff, but I remember fucking loving
It's
that
good.
in 2015.
It's great. Yeah.
I love the Sami Zayn match where like Bret Hart's the one who brings Zayn out in Montreal, which also I think might have been one of the first times Hart was back on TV on WWE in Montreal, which is like a weird coincidence. I also think that the Cesaro matches that everyone raves about are as good as everyone says they are. I've said as much on Big Egg. Like there is a lot of great stuff, but there is a lot of chaff to go with that wheat. What do you think about this particular interlude of Cena's career?
I think it's a really interesting time for WWE, just generally speaking, because at some
Yeah.
point they realize the rubber's. Yeah, I mean, at some point they're realizing the rubber has hit the road and they have to make new stars, right? And
They did.
you know,
They
the Roman
realized
Reigns
that?
episode of this will be well, maybe they were forced to, whatever the case may be. The Roman Reigns episode that we'll do in 2049 will be incredibly interesting. But I think that the thing that, like, it's one of those things, you need somebody like him to sell tickets, which is the shitty part of capitalism, and he needs to be here, like, with some regularity. I think it's just a really interesting, if anything, it just speaks to his ability to adapt. Like, you're right. Like, Hogan's midlife crisis is him putting on Jenkos and pretending he's from the hood. Did that resonate with anyone?
Me.
No.
In 2026. I'm real tight with the Woodmaster.
The Woodmaster, yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, but I just think that, like, it's, whereas most people were at this point in their career be like grasping at straws to like continue to prove their relevancy, he instead just figures out there's this thing I could try, and it might extend my shelf life a little bit longer, and it did. And I think that it's a testament to his self-awareness. He is smart enough to know that, like, he can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. He has to figure out ways to modify himself in some way, shape, or form, to remain like as hegemonous as he is. It's not one that, like, I look on fondly. I definitely look at it and, like, laugh more than I'm moved by it.
Yeah.
But it extends his shelf life, which is super important to his case. And I think that almost does bleed pretty well into I think the penultimate match that we'll probably talk about on this episode, the AJ Styles and Cena match from 2017. I'm very curious as to what led you to put this on the syllabus.
All right. So what led me to put this on the syllabus was two things. Number one, I didn't want to watch or talk about anything John Cena did in 2025 because I found it to be bankrupt and devoid of interest. But the one match that people really seemed to dig in on as being not that was the revisiting of his feud against AJ Styles, who also retired this year in order to start a podcast in which he just says the dumbest possible shit about wrestling. I have never really cared about AJ Styles or cared for AJ Styles or really dug into anything AJ Styles has done. I know eventually we will have to do an AJ Styles show, and that will be fine. Because
That'll be fun.
Yeah, no, like, he's a good wrestler. He's got a lot of good matches, and, like, it is what it is. But that's where I fall on him, right? But like the build to the Cena's retirement match run against AJ Styles, being fans being so mad that, like, his classic opponent AJ Styles was not getting a chance to do a rematch in a run where every Tom, Dick, and Harry who ever fucking wrestled John Cena got to do a match that was basically a note for note repeat of a much better thing that happened 10 years ago, made me curious. It made me curious. So I looked and basically was like, what's the best one of these? I probably picked the wrong one because, like, I gotta be honest with you, when I watched this match, my eyes just kind of glazed over. Like,
Sure.
I think that there's like just a wall with WWE where like convincing me that any of it is important or matters or is relevant is just not going to happen. And I think that my wall is probably later than most people my age in the sense that it's like 2015. But like, I don't know, like, AJ Styles showing up in WWE in 2016, despite what I said about not really caring much about him, because it's true, I don't, like signaled to me that like nothing good in this world could last so long as WWE existed. Like that might sound dramatic and crazy, but like that was also like who else went to WWE around the same time as AJ Styles? Oh, that's right, Shinsuke Nakamura. Like so New Japan Pro Wrestling was super hot and super good, and like Shinsuke Nakamura was the greatest fucking wrestler in the world, having these like, I don't know, like pop art masterpieces at Wrestle Kingdom every fucking year. And you know, Jeff Jarrett gets them on fucking pay-per-view, and Jim Ross does a bunch of commentary for him, and suddenly like the two people who are most making all the white boy wrestling fans in America tune in to New Japan for the first time in their lives are on WWE. Like that's kind of what killed WWE for me. Like it was that and NXT like completely draining the indies of talent. Like super fast, and for the sake of like having Dusty Rhodes teach people how to do promos, that's cool, but like the part where like Triple H was getting sent fruit baskets by Reddit for like repeating booking from fucking Great American Bash Tour 87 or whatever, like jerk off hand emoji, like eggplant emoji, like fuck off, like that shit sucked. And getting me to watch anything past basically like Kevin Owens versus John Cena is a no-go. So like AJ Styles versus John Cena, I'm sure is a good match, and I'm sure it's a good series, and I think this is the one that everyone fucking glazes for being the one where they don't go outside of the ring or whatever.
Yes,
you know,
they don't.
Oh my God. But again, to me, like that's one of those things where I feel like we've entered, I don't want to call it like a postmodern era of wrestling where like everyone is aware that it's fake. So like when you see something that's like outside the bounds of what you typically think wrestling is, you go, oh my God, that's crazy. Like that's cinema. You know, like there was a dude on Twitter, one of the big Twitter dipshits, who like posted a clip of like Cena's celebration with the title at WrestleMania, and he was like, I just counted, and there's exactly 17 seconds of pyro for the 17th championship win that John Cena had. And that shit gave me chills. And that to me is this match. Like, oh, these two wrestlers didn't leave the ring. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, who cares? They're still on the ring apron. Like, like that is going outside the ring, you fuck. Like the ring apron doesn't count as the ring. AJ Styles is doing springboard matches. When you want to show me like like if this was John Cena working like Nick Bockwinkel versus Vern Gagne fucking headlock match at SummerSlam or whatever, like then you could get at me and tell me that this is like some kind of game-changing shit. But I think that like again, like this is a match that like not for me, but like when you're examining Cena overall, and I know that this is like probably the fourth time that I've said this, it's once again the idea of Cena as something of an ideological battlefield, and in this instance it's even more pointed because it is his 16th world championship victory, which is something that you know, if you listen to Ric Flair talk about it, there's a very funny promo from the Hulkamania Australia tour where he says, I'm the 16-time world champion. Some people say 23 times, but that's business between me and other countries. Like this is John Cena tying Ric Flair's championship, like official championship reign thing. I think that some of the ones that Ric Flair counts as being part of 23 is like, I'm really scared to win over a Puerto Rican in Puerto Rico, so I'm just gonna let him have the title and he can mail it back to me, sort of shit.
Right.
But like, Cena's legitimately tying him here, which was at one point such a strong bone of contention that no less a hero than Jon Stewart at The Daily Show stopped him from achieving his dreams. But here he does so.
Forgot about that.
Here
Fuck,
he
I
does so
remember
cleanly.
watching that when that happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
This to me, like the Cena Styles match is two things. It is WWE simultaneously scoring I think their final victory, not their final victory, because that would be Gunther versus Goldberg. Their second to last victory over WCW, and having Cena tie Flair for a record that only Ric Flair and people 10 years older than me care about. And also having John Cena do so by defeating the ace of TNA. So it's like a 2-for-1 where like they have defeated their only real competition in the last 30 years. And also like the third runner up in the sweepstakes for fake competition to WWE.
Oh man, I only have one thing about.
It's a really morally repugnant match when you think about it in those terms.
Yeah, I mean, to shit on the legacy of Jeff Jarrett, I'm so concerned about.
Which I
think
did.
The only thing that it's true. I think the one thing that I'd say about this match, to just kind of add to it, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to talk about at least one match from his 2025 run, because we're not going to have 2 episodes about 2 guys who finished up their retirements in 2025 and gloss over them, considering that I fucking suffered through all of them. But I think the one thing that's just interesting about this match is to that point, I think that was what like really, I went into this match like really hyper focused on it being number 16 for him, and felt fine about the match. But as soon as it was over, I looked up, and then apparently that reign only lasted 14 days, and it ended shortly after. Which I think, to your point,
that's the same thing that happened to Ric Flair when he won number 16. Like Ric Flair won it on an episode of Nitro, in a T-shirt.
Oh right, yeah.
And then he lost it. Who did Cena lose the title to?
I think it was. Let me go back and look. It's probably going to take me a little bit to figure it out. I'll have to do some searching. I did not jot this down. Titles. Shoot. This would have been 2017, correct?
Yeah. Is it like Bray or something?
Yes, it's Bray Wyatt.
Oh my God! Wow, absolutely. That was like a wild guess.
Yeah, no, it's Bray Wyatt.
Wait, does Goldberg come back and beat Bray for that shit, or is that later? Am I thinking
that? I'm not sure.
Oh, if this is the setup for Goldberg run, then I'm giving it up for John Cena.
Yeah, no, he loses it to Bray Wyatt, Baron Corbin, AJ Styles, and Dean Ambrose, and The Miz at Elimination Chamber, an Elimination Chamber match.
Oh wait, no,
which I did. Watch.
Goldberg beat the Fiend, so that was later. Wow, what a fucking waste of a title reign.
Yeah, completely. Which, again, to your point, like, so much in WWE ends up not mattering. And I think that transitions perfectly to the last match that we'll talk about here, which is I'm just briefly going to talk about John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Give me a second just to make sure that I get this correct. For the undisputed WWE title. Wait, no, that's not. Yeah, at SummerSlam 2025 in a street fight. Also, infamously, the match in which unnamed WWE employee Brock Lesnar makes his return.
Yeah.
To the shock and chagrin of a lot of WWE fans who thought Bad Man Gone meant all bad men gone.
None of them stopped watching, so.
I know one person who did, and credit to him. Credit him for that. He did switch over to AEW. He is getting his bored with AEW as one does once they make the once they start watching AEW. But credit to him for at least making the switch. But what's interesting about this match in terms of just things not mattering is that about the failed John Cena heel turn.
Oh yeah,
correct?
Of course. No, I'm well aware.
Yeah. And so it goes very poorly. And in promos before this match starts, the Monday before it, I don't have the exact context. I'm absolutely summarizing here, paraphrasing. But what he essentially does is he sort of says, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe everybody wants to cheer for me, so maybe we'll let that happen at SummerSlam. And so what you end up having here is this incredible instance where the roles have been somewhat reversed. And John Cena, the most self-aware man in wrestling, recognizes that he has to be a babyface for the last couple of months of his contract.
And he's working Cody Rhodes, one of the least self-aware wrestlers.
Least self-aware. And it's such an interesting dynamic because I do not think Cody realizes how much of a carbon copy or a failed carbon copy of John Cena he is. But the only thing that I'm thinking about while watching this match and staring at his giant neck tattoo, which always worth keeping in mind that he was too afraid to tell the tattoo artist that he didn't want it to be that big. I'm just thinking just about how both of them are just like leaning into this like jingoistic version of like what an American babyface is supposed to be.
Right.
And Cena is at the failed end of a heel turn that should have been so much of a bigger deal and should have cemented him as the greatest wrestler ever.
They shouldn't have done it.
But it did.
They shouldn't have done it. The moment for him to have done a heel turn was 10 years prior to this.
I could not agree more. It definitely seems it's a knock on.
But God bless The Rock for forcing himself into this situation.
And I'm going to do everything I possibly can to not talk about WWE Untold, which is a fascinating watch if you're somebody who hates yourself, that I highly recommend sitting through if you are that sort of person and happen to enjoy wrestling. But the thing that's like just super fascinating about this match is that like it is Cody Rhodes pulling John Cena aside beforehand and saying, I don't know if you've seen Kenny Omega versus Okada at Wrestle Kingdom, but we should give it a shot.
Wait, really?
And boy, oh boy, yeah.
Is that for real?
Yes.
You could tell me anything about this match?
No.
Which I'm right now at the
no.
point that I'm at. John Cena has pulled out a Slim Jim's table. I'm familiar with like the fact that WWE is now like a corporately branded hellscape.
Yes.
Like the Slim Jim's table and the Fireball ladder both make me wish that Fan Fight was still here so that I could do micro reviews of both because I find them fascinating.
The pros and cons.
At least the Slim Jim's table
I would love one.
like breaks in a way that isn't going to fuck someone up. Like looking at those announce tables, were they designed to intentionally injure wrestlers?
They might have been. There had been a lot of failed attempts of going through them.
This match is fucking terrible, by the way.
The undisputed WWE title street fight from SummerSlam 2025.
Yeah, I like how you had to say the whole thing. Yeah, no, this match where Cody Rhodes is here with like bald eagle goatee on his ass. Yep. This match sucks. It makes me want to die. I think Cody Rhodes is fucking atrocious. But tell me more about how he wanted to steal from one of the more overrated feuds in New Japan history.
I'm not going to let you sit through all of it, but early in the match, we do start seeing some crowd brawling with some epic spots that very much harken to a lot of the maximalists' approach of Omega and Okada.
See, real ones know that their G1 Climax match is the best one because it could only go 30 minutes.
We'll talk about that one shortly, I'm sure. But no, so it's not, I don't think that like Cody actually had that conversation with him, but I could see in this match Cody's New Japan influences and how he very much wants to be seen as an epic wrestler, but through the lens of a WWE.
His influences.
Yeah.
He was there.
Yeah. He was. I'm going to ask you to do me a favor, though. If you're watching the match, just hop to minute 33:46 because this is really the moment that
hop to minute 33:40. Please hop to like 800
and
hours.
just do yourself a favor.
This
33 minutes into the match. With it, yes, they're going through the curtain under the match, under the stage, only for the spotlight to go on the elevator shaft that Cody Rhodes does his beautiful entrance through.
That he stole from Kurt Angle.
Yep, with smoke coming through, while Cena has this demented look on his face. And to me, you're just seeing everything that's wrong with modern WWE. Nothing spontaneous. It's a company that's always been allergic to spontaneity, but is now so addicted to making big moments happen that even when you were trying to bite off of other epic moments, you can't stop yourself from making sure that your incredibly stupid audience is paying attention to the things that they're supposed to be paying attention to.
I'm going to
spotlight on the elevator shaft.
There, it's right there. Just as soon as you said that, there it is. You're there. Oh shit!
Smoke coming out.
Oh, shit.
Remember, this is where he comes out of. What does this mean?
This is
nothing.
This is so Nitro 2000 coded.
It is.
Like you could replace these guys with Total Package and Ric Flair, and it would be the same thing. Why did he have to walk 15 feet away from the fucking platform?
And it's one of those things, right, where it's like the match psychology doesn't matter anymore. What matters now is moment psychology.
Well, for one, they're
how do we get ourselves?
This is at MetLife Stadium, so they're easily 100 yards away from the mat, so they're fine.
Yep.
There's no psychology needed when you're on the ramp.
Yeah, when you're at the 50 fucking yard line, like headed towards the red zone. Yeah, then you get this moment where he's carrying him, and it's important to just keep in mind that what has happened here is a subtle double swerve in terms of who's heel and who's face. Cody, though, so unable to be self-aware, does not realize how disliked, how unlikable, and how short the leash is going to be on him being a top guy in this company.
Have people turned on him yet? Has that happened?
I to be honest, I have not been paying enough attention.
Okay.
What has mostly been happening as of late. I rely on the Observer Discord to get me there, but they have unfortunately been distracted by CM Punk rumors. So they haven't been able to focus on anything else.
The greatest Lucha Libre match of all time just happened like 3 weeks ago. So
they didn't say much about that.
Whoa.
I'll admit.
Okay,
but yeah.
So this match, bad match. Bad instincts.
Bad match. Bad instincts. Corporate sponsored tables.
Yeah.
This is what America is now.
Audio, the auto insurance. Like, I'm surprised that the general CGI didn't like put John Cena in the crossover.
While Shaq watches on crying. Oh man, God, yeah, the opportunities.
God, this guy.
But no, I think more than anything, I just kind of want to use this as an opportunity to just say that, like, what a wet fart of a wasted opportunity to send off one of your signature stars for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
The Gunther match is better. I will say, I don't want to talk about it much. It's impressive to me that there are a lot of people who thought that he should not tap out. That was a big Bryan Alvarez thing. He was really leading into
who the fuck
John Cena. Gave up.
Wow, that's a really good impression.
I know. I do a scary good impression on Bryan Alvarez. But yeah, he was really confused at John Cena tapping out. And just to me, that also just speaks to more than anything else. It's like an audience who cannot even be aware of the significance of somebody doing something like that. Instead of the guy who told you never to give up finally tapping out in his last match should have been enough to cement Walter as, the next, world beater, heel. But unfortunately, the audience was too invested in the pun. And I think that it just tells you everything you need to know about modern WWE. And I think for me, that like really brings us the opportunity to kind of close this out is, from my perspective, John Cena, incredible worker who I just would have loved to have seen in a different context, because for me, it's just so hard to pin down exactly where I land on him. Because he's working in such a company that's just devoid of spirit, devoid of heart. devoid of interest for so long. It's amazing that he's able to accomplish everything that he is able to accomplish, knowing full well that he also thinks that this is the pinnacle of what his craft is.
The Cody Rhodes match, or just in general?
WWE, no, not the Cody Rhodes match. I'm so sorry. Now I've got you hyper focused on the Cody Rhodes match. But yeah, so we've been going at it for 4 hours and 10 minutes total, talking about John Cena, which is exactly what I expected.
Yeah.
Do you have any closing words on Cena before we ask ourselves the question and allude to who our next subject is going to be?
Well, I think you can ask me the question, and I'll seg into that.
I'll do it that way.
But let's start with you, Orchid. Is John Cena the greatest wrestler of all time?
Yes. I think John Cena is the greatest wrestler of all time. This is a company, as I just mentioned, that is devoid of heart, devoid of meaning, and has taught its audience that nothing fucking matters. But somehow, this man has figured out a way to go against the grain. He's remained relevant in a company that is eager to throw people away as quickly as possible. He has been able to reestablish himself as a babyface to 3 different generations of stupid people. And he's able to somehow make magic out of it. I think wrestling is a stupid, frivolous hobby that we all love very much. And taking that into consideration, knowing full well that he is not representative of anything that I care about in wrestling, yeah, I think he's absolutely the greatest wrestler of all time. 25-year career where he somehow figures out a way to remain relevant, even though he looks like a toe on steroids and is one of the least charming people I've ever looked at.
Aw, he's plenty charming on Total Divas. If you look past all the giant red flags. Buying 50 suits is charming. Having dinner rules, maybe less so.
Yeah, or laundry hamper rules. That's one of my favorite parts when he's explaining the hampers. What about you, Colette? Is John Cena the greatest wrestler of all time?
Yeah, John Cena is the greatest wrestler of all time for the exact same reason that he is one of the worst wrestlers of all time, which is this. If you believe, as I believe, that the thing that is holding wrestling back is the existence of World Wrestling Entertainment, then John Cena is an enemy of us, an enemy of the people, and an enemy of the sport and art that I love so very much. But in being an enemy, he has produced an untold number of gems for a company that already has so fucking many. They have all the gems. So it's just a fucking embarrassment of riches at WWE. They'll be dribbling out content on YouTube for the next 40 fucking years, and everyone will be like, thank you, daddy, for posting another Omni show until we're all goddamn dead. And it shouldn't be that way, but it is. And for the last 25 years, the avatar of that has been John Cena. I think that it is unfortunate that he is so good at what he does, because I would like for the company that he has done it for to not exist. You can't get what you want, and you have to acknowledge reality. Therefore, I am standing resolute in my belief that John Cena is the greatest wrestler of all time, because within this twisted hellscape of World Wrestling Entertainment, which he entered by stating that he stood for ruthless aggression, and which he exited by stating that he loved Vince McMahon no matter what he did, he forged new pathways for matches to not suck at the top level in a universe that he had inherited from Shawn Michaels and Triple H. That is what John Cena rescued us from. If you existed as a wrestling fan who was unfortunate enough to watch WWE instead of TNA or ROH or whatever other options there were, he saved us from the Reign of Terror. He established his own Reign of Terror that was slightly more benevolent in the sense that he was wrestling a greater variety of opponents, more interestingly. And he found a way again, from the 9th level of hell, to remain interesting and curious about his profession in a company that exists only to destroy interest and curiosity in this profession. I think that he should be celebrated, and I think that people should throw tomatoes at him on the street. I have a very complicated relationship with John Cena. As complicated as a WWE crowd in the year 2008. If you were to ask me which side of the fence do you fall on, let's go Cena or Cena sucks, I would say that's a transphobic question, because the only people chanting Cena sucks are dudes with a lot of bass in their voice for an arena that is 50% full of women and children. You would think that those dudes would want to do better on Tinder, but Tinder didn't exist in 2008, so I guess you do what you do. I don't even know if Tinder exists now. What's up now? Bumble? I got a partner.
I'm married.
I was gonna say I got a partner. I'll need that shit. Also, I found my partner on Grindr, and also from working with them. So, like, it takes all kinds, and my kinds, they ain't on Tinder. But those dudes, they should have been. There's so many single moms in the fucking WWE audience in the late 2000s. Like, it would have been easy. It would have been like Wedding Crashers, and those dudes fucked it up because they didn't realize the genius of John Cena, which is selling T-shirts to 8-year-olds. He was extremely good at it. He will continue to be good at it from now until the rest of his life. Someday he might learn how to act, but until that day, all I have to say is that if you want to give WWE its due, for anything, it is for finding one dude in a sea of guys who grew up worshiping the WrestleMania 6 match between Hogan and Warrior, who could actually make that work in a way that would benefit the company and not just himself. He is WWE's franchise. He is WWE's icon. And I hate that for the world, but I love that for him. And I hope that someday he's a little bit less weird, because Total Divas really painted him in a kind of psychotic light. He's the greatest wrestler of all time.
All right. Well, on that note, 2 more things before we close off. The first thing I just want to say is thank you to y'all for listening. And that leads into the second bit, which is that we do have plans to open up, I think, for more suggestions from folks about like who they'd like us to cover. I know at minimum, the idea eventually for this is us to get to a point where we're pulling names out of a hat, air quotes.
Yeah, we're spinning the wheel and making the deal.
Spinning the wheel and making the deal is absolutely what we'll be doing. But I think we'll eventually like to start to get some suggestions from folks, because we got to figure out who we're going to put up on that wheel in the first place. And I think that the thing that I could say here that will kind of like bleed into that is that hopefully by the time this episode is posted, I will have talked to the fine folks at Violent People to ensure that we can get a link that will prevent bots from signing up for our Discord. But if you do want to have any conversations about Cena, Patron Saints, Goldberg, or a lot of some of the other things that we kind of dig into in Violent People. It's a really rich community. Someone in the Voices of Wrestling Discord described this as, quote, take the anti-smart aspect of DVD-R, remove the historical knowledge, and add a layer of ignorance and dismissiveness. And that's what Violent People Discord is. I wear that. Yeah,
well, they don't pay their writers either, so they can get fucked.
I wear that as a badge of honor. I think that we have a lot of fun and talk about a lot of different types of wrestling. You'll have folks who are just as enthusiastic about Lucha Meme as they are watching a Ring of Honor show. So check our socials. We'll tweet a link and pin it to that Discord, so you can come join us and have some conversations with some really fucking weird people about wrestling. And Colette and I, who are also really fucking weird. But yeah, I think the last thing we should do to kind of close out on this is announce who our next episode is going to be about.
Yeah.
Do you remember who it is?
I do. I remember who it is. I know who our next 3 people are.
Okay.
If you,
Sick.
yeah, I can say all three of them because I think that'd be exciting.
Well, we should just say one.
You just want to say one? I want people to be excited for next week and for weeks beyond. Right. But next week or next time rather, episode 5. Maybe episode 5 and episode 6, but I think this one we might be doing episode 5 because the next subject,
I think that's a one. Yeah,
had a relatively short career compared to most people that folks would say are the greatest wrestler of all time. But it's really hard to say that she didn't have a fucking tremendous career because we will be covering deathmatch legend, FMW's own Megumi Kudo, inventor of the Vertebreaker, and Apple of Atsushi Onita's eye. So if Apple's made one cry during wrestling matches, which I don't know, they probably do. Like I've never asked anyone who's had Carlitos spit an apple in their eye if it made them cry. But yeah,
totally.
It's going to be an emotional one because that's what FMW does is big emotion. And she had I want to say like maybe like a 5-year long career. And a lot of it was in FMW and freelancing in the Joshi scene around that. So it's very interesting, very varied, and there's an exploding fucking deathmatch, baby.
Finally, we get to exploding deathmatch.
Yeah,
but yeah, thank you all very much for joining us, and looking forward to hearing from you all on socials, and check us next episode.
Bye.
Bye.